What is up, Top Shot Nation? Super excited for this one. I'm joined by my right-hand man, Austin Kent, and we're going to break down the Series 3 base set, Release 7. We've got a good, cool 17 new moments coming to Top Shot, and some of these are epic. Austin, how's it going? How's everything?
It's going great. We got a great batch of plays to go through today with some players that, we've been talking about for a while, so I'm excited to see them finally make their way into the platform.
Without further ado, let's kick it off with a lottery pick from last year, Devin Vassell. He's been really turning it on as a sophomore, and here we see him flashing that athleticism.
You love to see when young players take that next step forward, and we're seeing that from Devin Vassell this year. He's really been great in San Antonio on both ends of the ball, but it's fun to see him power through on offense and show a little bit more power or strength than I guess you might expect from him. He just throws down a nice little gem.
Terrence Mann to Devin Vassell, to Scotty Barnes, Florida State, the Seminoles are going strong, turning out NBA players on a consistent basis. Moving along here, we've got Jarred Vanderbilt, who has really established himself for the Wolves as one of their best defenders and has obviously had an appearance in the Flash Challenge last week. So everything is looking good for Jarred Vanderbilt.
Yeah, we're seeing Vanderbilt really carve out a really nice role for himself with this, intriguing young team. Just a rebounding machine. This was one of 16 rebounds on this night. And like you said, as a recent Flash Challenge moment, this guy can grab boards, and he does it basically every time he's out on the floor.
I have a soft spot in my heart for Jarred Vanderbilt because when I was in my scouting days, I actually, on New Year's Eve, scouted a DeAndre Ayton versus Jarred Vanderbilt matchup where DeAndre Ayton must have gone for 45 and 25, and Jarred Vanderbilt just couldn't keep up. But that's no disrespect to Jarred Vanderbilt. DeAndre Ayton was one of the best high school prospects of all time.
I love that. And these are one of the top City Edition jerseys in the NBA this year.
Absolutely. Moving along, Nikola Vučević has obviously powered up the Chicago Bulls, but what Wendell Carter Jr. has done for the Magic, the centerpiece of the trade in return alongside with those first rounders, Wendell Carter Jr. really establishing himself as a prominent defensive force and an emphatic dunker for the Magic.
Yeah, definitely. Emphatic dunker is just such a great way to put it. Wendell Carter Jr. night in and night out seems to be throwing down, like major dunks, major throwdown candidates. It's been fun to see them, but to be able to sneak like a powerful dunk like this into the base set is a treat.
And there's an MVP moves Giannis dunk from Series 1 that is eerily similar to this, just, flipping characters. I think Giannis's dunk was on Vuč, and here we see Wendell Carter getting some redemption for his Magic on Giannis. Moving ahead, we've got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. He's having a nice season, starting to get a little bit more playing time and a little bit more usage for the Pelicans. Obviously, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's cousin. What have you seen from Nickeil this season?
Nickeil, a fine Canadian boy, has a spot in my heart. What we've seen from Nickeil Alexander-Walker is just this offensive spark plug, a great spot starter, if you will, that can really shoulder much of the offensive load if the team needs him. He doesn't have to do it on a nightly basis. He doesn't really have that level of consistency or at least predictable usage yet. And when he gets the permission to sort of just take over on the offensive side of the ball, you really see some great stuff come from him.
Yeah, some Canadian on Canadian crime right there, finishing around Brandon Clark, one of the best rim protectors in the league. Mentioned Vuč a little earlier. Well, we've got a Vuč moment, and here we see him showing it on the defensive end. He's really, really turned it on defensively this season. Going into the year, that was obviously the thing that many of the pundits and skeptics were wondering, would the Bulls have a formidable defense? And nearly halfway through the season, there's an emphatic answer to that.
Yeah, when you see a contender start really firing on all cylinders, you see stuff like this. You see players like embracing new roles, really owning new roles. And to see Vuč, he kind of increased his game. Obviously was somebody who frequently had major stat lines in Orlando, but to see him do it where the stakes are a little bit higher and to be able to do it on both ends of the ball is just it's good to see. He's averaging over a block per game this year, and this is his first block on Top Shot. So it's exciting to see Vučević kind of round out his game, and happy to see that in the product as well.
Moving along to a guy that is out of the spotlight, obviously has the season-ending injury, but Collin Sexton's going to be one of the biggest free agents coming up this summer. People forget he averaged over 24 points per game last year. The previous year, he averaged over 20. He's a scorer. He's a bucket getter. And whether he's back with the Cavs, who have really turned it on and figured out an offense with Garland as the focal point, or whether he's elsewhere next year, you can expect Collin Sexton's going to play a role in flash challenges long term.
We talked a lot about how we wanted to use this Collin Sexton moment, a special moment from the beginning of the year. And obviously it wasn't long into the year when we found out that he'd be out long term. But we decided that we wanted to be able to give Sexton some flowers. The Cavs have done great. They've done great without him. Who knows what the future has in store, like you said. But he's been putting in work for that team for the last few years. And it's nice to sneak him into the base set with the 60K moment here, because he's certainly cornerstone for this franchise, or at least had been for the past few years.
Moving ahead here to Darius Garland, Sexton's backcourt mate when they're both healthy in Cleveland. And Garland, of course, has turned himself into, if not a fringe all-star, a real all-star candidate. He is having a masterful year. We heard it over the offseason last summer. Steph Curry said Darius Garland was going to be someone to look out for this year. And we're seeing it. He now has an alley-oop mate, or multiple alley-oop mates. And here we see him going up high, and Jarrett Allen coming down hard.
Yeah, this is a drum that I've been trying to beat for the past few weeks. Like, we truly, as basketball fans, are in such a unique position to really watch a great, fascinating young guard on just this super exciting, overachieving team. We get to watch this unfold in real time. A great dribbler, a great passer, and to see the chemistry he's got with both Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley. I just don't want any of our fans to take that for granted, because this is one of those players in one of those times of his career when we're going to look back on it and wish we appreciated more. But I love just that, including his name in any All-Star talk conversation, and just really appreciating the highlights that he and this Cavs team are churning out on a nightly basis.
Yeah, and you look at this one more time. We got really just the lefty pass. That is hard to do at full speed, getting guarded by Jalen Brunson, who is a formidable defender, and still being able to kind of sneak a lefty lob through a window to Jarrett Allen. Moving ahead here to, for my money, the best player in the NBA, Kevin Durant. And here we see KD doing what he does best, dominating the mid-range, going up high over a double team.
You know, what better way to sort of embody Kevin Durant's sort of killer signature move than to just see him get to his spot here and pull up for that sort of baseline fadeaway. It's a shot just associated with the greats over the years, and Kevin Durant is certainly in that conversation. Just a cool 38 points from KD. Gets to his spot with ease.
This is a move that you do in 2K and you're just not successful, because it's like, objectively, if you're not Kevin Durant, not the best way to play basketball. Just kind of crossover. Okay, let me dribble to the corner and shoot over a double team. But that's what KD does, and he does it well every time. So I don't think Steve Nash is giving him any feedback on that shot selection.
Yeah, to Charlotte's credit, it's well defended, but there's only so much you can do when there's a 7-footer that's as smooth as that.
Moving ahead to Jaylen Nowell, his Top Shot debut. We're now in the Top Shot debut territory. We got a couple here, or multiple actually. And Jaylen Nowell, 29 points from this Top Shot debut. Of course, after the game, his 10-day contract mate, Greg Monroe, admitted to the media, I didn't know who he was, but he played a great game.
You love to see players just burst onto the scene with emphasis, and certainly that's the case here. I think this is one of the nicest 12K debuts that we've got, just in terms of sheer play. 29 points for Jaylen Nowell in this game. He's one of those players on this Timberwolves team that's really getting a lot out of their sort of rotation pieces.
Moving ahead to another 12K Top Shot debut, Lance. It's about time. We love Lance here at Top Shot, and obviously he has not had the opportunity to put together some moments in recent seasons, but he's played for 2 teams this year, and he's back with the Pacers in his 3rd stint there, and he looks right at home once again.
Yeah, we had our eyes on Atlanta Lance, seeing if that would be his landing spot. And I'm happy that Lance has now found his way back to Indiana, which is his true home. And he hasn't wasted any time just reliving the glory days and really stepping up for a team, a kind of a wayward team that I think could really benefit from somebody just sort of taking over and really helping out however they can. We've seen it on multiple occasions from Lance already this season, but his first game back in Indiana, he just really floored the crowd. 20 points in the first quarter of work and 30 points in this game. This shot's at the end of the first quarter. Everybody's loving it. It's just so fun to see Lance have this success and have Indiana fans really be able to enjoy that with him. So it's just been a blast to watch.
This, of course, was also Kyrie Irving's first game back, and Lance just totally upstaged him. So you got that. Moving ahead, we've got a rookie. We've got Herb Jones. This is a 12K rookie. It's not from his debut game, but Herb Jones has absolutely been a rising phenom for the Pelicans in a season where not much has gone right for New Orleans. Herb Jones as a second-round pick, reigning SEC Player of the Year. He looks like in the vein of a Lou Dort or Marcus Smart, just a defensive stopper that can do a little bit on offense as well.
Yeah, you're right. An absolute gem on defense. And it's just one of those players that's showing up to do work however he can for a Pelicans team that needs players like that. These are the types of moves. These are the types of character players that really win over coaches and set themselves up for long careers in the NBA.
Absolutely. Moving ahead now, we're into the 9999 limited editions. We'll start with Tyrese Haliburton, a friend of Top Shot, collector on Top Shot. And here we see him doing some stuff that I don't know if he was going to be doing as a rookie, but in his sophomore year, he's really started to take players off the dribble. And here we see him really just giving Trey Jones the business.
One of the scariest things about Tyrese Haliburton is the length that he brings. He's got obviously true point guard skills, always has, but he's just got crazy length, and you see that on full display when he starts pairing it with some great footwork. Tyrese Haliburton could be a problem for the Kings.
Next up, another friend of Top Shot, another collector on Top Shot. We got Terry Rozier. Scary Terry. When the Hornets signed him to the original deal, I think a lot of pundits said that's a bad deal. Well, not only did he make good on that deal, he got an extension at a richer contract, and he's making good on that one too. He's been a central focal point for this Hornets team that looks like a true playoff, maybe not a championship contender, but they'll give teams a tough ride in the first round, and wouldn't shock me if they were able to kind of gut out a first round victory against a team.
We've seen Terry Rozier's attitude come out at various points throughout his career, including in that final year in Boston before he hit free agency. And we saw a player that just isn't afraid of anything. He's not afraid of taking on the offensive load. He's not afraid of leading or dragging his team whenever he needs to, especially on the offensive end of the ball. A fascinating ball handler, clearly making his defender dance in this one. He's just such a fun player to watch.
Moving ahead from one of the best ball handlers in the league to arguably still the best dunker in the league, we got Zach LaVine, and just doing what he does best. Casual, 360, putting it down, not even celebrating. This is nonchalant. This is what Zach LaVine does.
I love that. And that's one of the things that we love best about this moment is how many humans on earth can throw down a 360 and be more or less completely unfazed by it. Zach LaVine is just such a phenomenal, dunker, one of the best in NBA history. So to see him be able to pull this off, and it's really no big deal, is actually kind of a major deal.
Moving ahead, we've got Derrick White, one of the more solid and underrated guards in the entire NBA. Obviously, the backcourt in San Antonio and the market of San Antonio make it hard for maybe casual fans to know too much about Derrick White. But this guy can get buckets. He's a steady defender, and he's a winning player. like
so many Spurs players, he's so capable of so many great things. And in this night, 24 points, 8 boards, 9 assists with 4 steals. They don't need that from him every night, but the fact that he can, when called upon, he can produce that. He can get to the bucket. Nice little spin in this one. You love to see it. It's just such a perfect embodiment of this Spurs organization.
Moving ahead to our last under 10K base set moment from this drop. And who better than Olympic gold medalist, NBA champion, defensive extraordinaire, Jrue Holiday, with one of the flashiest offensive moves I've seen from him in quite some time.
Yeah, this is such a smooth move. We've watched it over and over again. Jrue Holiday truly has become such a valued NBA player because of his ability on both ends of the floor. But to see him pull out just the silky smooth baseline move with that reverse layup, it certainly caught our eye, because Jrue Holiday, he always wins. He doesn't always crack the top 10. So it's fun to see that.
And now, last but not least, our only 3-star rookie from their debut game in the NBA. We've got the number 2 overall pick in the draft, the pride of the Philippines. We got Jalen Green. And look at this one from his debut game. Like, he's a teenager and he's doing this.
Jalen Green has had a fascinating rookie season. We've seen a number of just amazing plays from him so far, but to be able to pull this out in your first game, I think is a great sign of things to come. He's got the handle. He's got the hops. The throwdowns are vicious. It's just been a blast to see. And I'm excited to see this very young Rockets team grow and start giving him more and more responsibility as a leader.
4 first-rounders for these Rockets between Green, Şengün, Garuba, and Josh Christopher. That's a lot of young talent. Certainly many more picks still to come. They'll be a team to watch, but Jalen Green, he's going to be the centerpiece of this. The guy can score with ease, and obviously hard for teenage guards to really be competitive defenders in the league. But based on his frame, based on his size, based on his athleticism, I think Jalen Green's going to eventually become a pretty capable two-way player. And there you have it. Those are the 17 new moments coming to Top Shot. Of course, Jalen Green, the number 2 overall pick as a headliner. Kevin Durant, Lance Stephenson's Top Shot debut. Herb Jones making his first rookie moment, his Top Shot debut. Zach LaVine, Jrue Holiday. This is an Olympic gold meets good players making their debuts on Top Shot. This is an exciting release. Can't wait to share it with you all in the community. Austin, as always, credit to you and Brandon putting together this set. Always incredible work. For all of the latest and greatest in all things NBA Top Shot, don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.